Alrighty. So let's go ahead and continue on with just a little bit more description of what we got here on the lower PFD before we move on to the actual start. So our avionics, we do have synthetic vision available. Ta-da. Timer works. Weather, the way that works here, you're going to click that and it's going to pull the weather overlay onto the center display. If you want to turn the weather off, go in here. And if you want to change the weather settings, click in there twice. You can go to change the settings there, go to horizontal or go to vertical. I personally don't need it. I think most of the time, most helicopters are flying in VFR. If we get into IFR conditions, I'm probably going to try to find a place to land very quickly anyway, but this is good if you have to go into a tricky area for some reason. But as I said, I'll turn that off. Minimums, this may have been broken in some videos that you've seen on YouTube previously or if you've watched some Twitch streamers, but this has now been fixed. Next, we have our bearing. So for this, let's go ahead and get the FMS. And there we go. So ta-da, it works. Speed bugs, and of course we've got all the other flight plan type items that you would expect. So let's get on to the fun stuff. Let's go ahead and turn our exterior power on there. At some point I would love to get this connected to the ground power supply. Right now it's not, but still, this is very useful for you guys who use VATSIM, virtual airlines, any of that kind of stuff where you need that realism to trigger maybe some type of response in those external programs that you're using. We do have all that stuff in here for you as well. Standby battery is going to come in useful if you find yourself in a situation where you need that power. So how do we get started? So generator 1 is already on. Let's go ahead, click on our engine 1 there. It's a good time to show off this incredible EIS that Dave has made. So of course, just like a real engine, we want to wait for our oil pressure to get where it needs to be. Still some work to do on the sounds, but I am more happy with it with every update that we get. Alrighty, so we've got green on our engine 1. Let's go ahead and get the same going for engine 2. I'm going to keep this flight for daytime for us right now just because I don't feel like messing around with the time settings, but we've got some really great lighting in here as well. So panel lights were added in a recent update. You can kind of see those going on and off there now. I'm going to turn them off since we're in daytime. And cabin lights were also added. So these cabin lights actually show up in the passenger area as well. Very cool. All right, let's go ahead and get our FADEC on now. So this is going to control... Whoop. And guess what I forgot to do, guys. So I'm glad that kind of happened, and I'm also embarrassed that it happened at the same time. But one of the things that you should always do when loaded into a flight with the helicopter, wiggle your throttle before you start your whole engine startup. That way, just so you can make sure that nothing crazy like that happens. Sometimes I think the sim itself may get stuck on what your last throttle setting was when you exit the sim. So just wiggle it a bit, bring it down to 0. That way, once the engines and the FADEC kick in, you don't go taking off like that. Alrighty, but anyway, FADEC's loaded up now. I am going to turn our auxiliary power off. I am going to turn our taxi lights on, our strobe, our beacon, nav is already on, and our PIOT is going on as well. I'm going to release the parking brake, and